Personally, I consider music in video games one of the most important aspects in a game. Like I said in one of my previous videos, that music can elevate a game from good to so good, and I always listen to video game music. To be honest, all of the music I listen to is video game music, which is considered kinda weird in where I live. Like if someone in school asked me what music are you listening to and I said Sonic, he just looks and says, what the fuck, isn't that the blue dude who runs fast? So now I will have to explain the whole deal, and then I just look like a weirdo. What a great way to make friends. But seriously, a lot of times fitting music can actually make a game better, and because I have nothing to do but talk about video games, in this video I'm giving my top 10 games that have the best music. And again, this is my top 10. It is a purely personal opinion. Maybe there is a game that has good music that I didn't play, or maybe I forgot something. I'm only human after all. Number 10, we have Fury. As I said in my indie games video, indie developers know how to make a great fitting music for their games, and Fury is one of many examples. The game itself is fast-paced and intense, featuring many boss battles that resonates with the player, but what makes this experience really memorable and unique is the incredible soundtrack. It draws from the synthwave and retrowave genres, which are known for their nostalgic and futuristic soundscapes. But the interesting touch that the creators of this game add to its musical approach is that tracks do not just get replayed every time they finish, but instead they make every track progresses in coordination with the gameplay. For example, in boss battles, the track changes every time you progress in the battle and reach a new phase, as the music gets faster and more intense every time the boss gets harder to fight, which makes the boss battles way more enjoyable. I do love the fighting mechanics of the game and all, but without this style of music, it will miss a lot of its charm. At number 9, we have Celeste. Oh yeah, another indie. Believe me, there are at least 4 of them in this list. But here, let's talk about Celeste's soundtrack. There are a lot of reasons this is on the list. Besides the fact that the tracks are enjoyable to listen to on their own, the most important thing about this game's music is its emotional depth and the narrative connection that it has with the story. I always love good music in a game, but it hits differently when it ties directly to the actual story that the game wants to tell. While reflecting the protagonist's internal struggles and personal growth, the soundtrack captures a range of emotions from moments of triumph and determination to anxiety and vulnerability. On top of that, the soundtrack of Celeste embodies the game's central theme of self-discovery and overcoming personal obstacles. Also, Celeste's music combines various genres and influences, including ambient, electronic, chiptune, and piano-driven compositions. Overall, Celeste's music is a standout element of the game, adding emotional depth, immersive experiences, and thematic resonance. Number 8, we have Cuphead. Well, obviously, I wasn't born in the 30s. I did not watch that era's cartoon, nor listen to its music. But the inspiration that Cuphead took from that era made the game music so unique. It's jazz, and I love jazz. But this is just different. With the perfectly made animation, the musical experience of the game is just exceptional. The soundtrack of the game is just filled with catchy melodies and memorable themes that won't come out of my head to this day. The tunes are often upbeat and playful, capturing the whimsical nature of the game's visuals and characters. On top of that, the music in Cuphead is designed to dynamically respond with the gameplay. The music intensifies during boss battles, matching the rising tension and providing a thrilling audio backdrop for the action. Overall, the music in Cuphead is just amazing, successfully capturing the spirit and energy of early 20th century jazz and ragtime. Its authenticity, catchy melodies, dynamic composition, and genre variation contribute to the game's unique charm and make the soundtrack a standout element of the overall experience. Number 7, we have Sonic Mania. Sonic. Who doesn't love Sonic? His memes, his strange fan games, and his music. His damn music. The Sonic series is known for its great soundtrack. Like, literally, I never personally played a Sonic game with bad or even average music. But from all the Sonic games, I love the Mania's soundtrack the most. I prefer fat Sonic music more than tall and skinny Sonic's music, and Mania gave me just what I wanted, a combination of old remixed Sonic tracks with new ones made especially for this one. Well, first, the classic Sonic tracks are still as amazing as ever, but their mixes made them faster and more energetic, which made the old levels way more enjoyable than before. But aside from that, the original compositions are also amazing, blending seamlessly with the retro sound. These new tracks showcases the composer's talent for creating catchy melodies and energetic rhythms that evoke the spirit of the classic Sonic games. On top of that, Sonic Mania music is one of the best video game music that I enjoy listening to on its own. Number 6, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 is one of the most loved video games in the past decade, and what I always praised about this game is its world and atmosphere, but there is no way these aspects could have been this good without the amazing soundtrack. Apart from giving the game more identity and keeping tonal stability, the tracks in this game are simply bangers. From the calmer ones that change from location to location while roaming the world to reflect the beauty yet the cruelty of this place, to the ones that I like the most, the action tracks. Oh my god, like the calm ones, they change from location to location and all of them are just amazing, making the fights exciting even if the nature of The Witcher 3 actual fighting is pretty basic. But like I said, the soundtracks makes the combat so special and blood pumping. On top of that, The Witcher 3 has many cultural influences, drawing inspiration from various cultural traditions, particularly Slavic and Eastern European. This choice reflects the game's setting, which is heavily inspired by the Polish original Witcher novels. Overall, the music of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt complements the game's narrative and world building, leaving a lasting impact on players and contributing to the game's status as a modern gaming masterpiece. Number 5, we have Undertale. Well, I think you all saw this one coming. Like really man, this game's music influence on media is still noticeable to this day, from 2015. But I'm gonna talk about Undertale's music in relation to the actual game. Well, simply, the game's music play a critical part in the whole experience. Sometimes it represents the wacky and strange nature of Undertale characters, and sometimes it demonstrates the emotional depth that the game's story reaches at some point of the overall runtime. But aside from that, the tracks of this game are so memorable and easy to listen to. It is everything a video game soundtrack should be. That's without even mentioning the boss's tracks. Even if I wasn't at that time a big fan of turn-based combat, but the music just kept me going. Overall, Undertale's music is a masterful composition that effectively complements the game's storytelling, characters, and themes. Number 4, we have Dark Souls 3. One word can explain this game's music: epic. It is the definition of an epic game soundtrack. It is so beautiful. I always think if Berserk manga had music, this would be it. The Soul series has, in my opinion, the best boss battles in any game. And believe me, they all have great OSTs, but Dark Souls 3 in my opinion has the best bosses, and one of the main reasons for that is the music. The boss themes, which convey the darkness of the world, characters, and stories of this game. Video games is a way of escapism. You will open the game and try to get inside a different world from the real one. Just forget it for a second. And music and games can make this procedure more successful, depending on the game. And in Dark Souls 3, the soundtrack really make you feel that you are in a medieval dark fantasy, with the amazing choir and instrumentations like the brass and strings, which evoked a sense of epicness and determination during boss fights. Also in boss battles, the intensity of the music increases as the fight becomes more challenging, heightening the player's sense of urgency and immersion. Overall, Dark Souls 3 music is just amazing. Number 3, you have Hotline Miami. How can I say this? At some points in my life, I was totally convinced that this game's OST is the best music I have ever listened to in my entire life, and I considered it to be the best video game music of all time, until, well, I played number 1 and 2. But seriously, what the hell is this? I'm still unable to comprehend how effective this game's music was inside the overall narrative and experience. From the inspiration from the synthwave genre to combining elements of 80s electronic music, synthpop, and new wave. Well, I think we can split the Hotline Miami soundtrack into two kinds. The tracks that play between the levels, which are really cool pieces to listen to, and they fit the atmosphere and vibe of the game, and they are pretty chilling, and the music that plays in the times of action. And what I adored is that these tracks aren't just fast-paced, enjoyable pieces that fit the violent nature of the gameplay, but many times they reflect the mental state of the characters, and some other times reflect the event and the setting of the level. For example, Run, my favorite track from these two games, is filled with feelings of paranoia, confusion, and anxiety, which are emotions that the character that you are playing with in this level is feeling, according to the previous dialogues and events. On top of that, the tracks of this game are just so memorable, like Hydrogen, Remorse, and Miss Minnie. Overall, the music of Hotline Miami is a vital component of its identity and success. Its retro synthwave sound, intense pacing, dynamic nature, and atmospheric tension complements the game's fast-paced and brutal gameplay. Number 2, we have the Nier games, Automata and Replicant. Aside from the amazing story, characters, and voice acting, Nier music made these two games not just one of my favorite video game experiences of all time, but one of the best works of entertainment I have ever experienced in my entire life. The music of Nier is deeply emotive, capturing the essence of the game's themes and narratives. The compositions range from the hauntingly beautiful melodies that play in the times of peace and differ from place to place, and sometimes in the more emotional moments in the game, to epic, intense orchestrations in the times of action and combat. Effectively conveying a wide range of emotions such as sorrow, hope, longing, and despair. And one of the most important aspects in the Nier game's soundtrack is how music is related directly to characters. For example, in Nier Replicant, and spoiler alert if you are interested in playing the game, there is a theme song in the village that is considered associated with the two twins, Popola and Devola. The track itself is so beautiful, but in one of my favorite boss fights of all time, they betray you for unknown reasons, and when you have to fight them, The same soundtrack plays, but remixed into a more fast-paced and action-packed piece, but maintaining at the same time the same core beauty of the original version, making the fight so emotional, tragic, and effective. There is even a version in the sequel, Automata, which connects directly to the twins. There are a lot of other examples of the same thing, but I mentioned this one because it stuck with me the most. I just love how certain musical themes and motifs are associated with specific characters, locations, or events, which creates a sense of continuity and reinforces narrative connections. These motifs often evolve and transform throughout the game, mirroring character development and narrative progression. That's without even mentioning the amazingly beautiful vocal performances, both in Japanese and English, which lend a unique and distinct flavor to the soundtrack. Songs like Song of the Ancients and Weight of the World are notable examples of emotionally charged vocal tracks that left a lasting impact on me playing the game. The vocals, combined with the evocative lyrics, contribute to the overall atmosphere, narrative, and themes of the games.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is. No Zeus, of course.
Number 1 we have Persona 3, 4, and 5. The thing that I learned about myself in these last few months is that I will literally take any chance to talk about the Persona games. And yes, I just put 3 games in one spot, because I'm so weak when it comes to Persona. Believe me, I tried choosing 1 and I tried choosing 2, but I found this task impossible. So what I'm gonna do now is take each one and explain how good its music is.
I never felt like down.
Starting with Persona 3, I played the Persona games in the order from 5 to 3, and at some points I considered Persona 3's music my least favorite. But after a few hours in this game, I just started to appreciate how amazing and unique the soundtrack of this game is, and decided that it holds equal grounds with the other two. The main character of Persona 3, even if it should represent the player, but he has his own personality. He's an introvert who likes to listen to music. The OSTs in Persona 3 has that stepping out to the world feeling. as you roam around the map of the game making friends and helping them overcome their hardships. This amazing soundtrack is just in the background, always making you hungry for more. It gets inspiration from J-pop, rock and electronica music, and the game maintains its tonal stability throughout the whole run of the game. And overall, it is always a good time for listening to Persona 3 music.
We are living our lives.
And then we have Persona 4, which has a totally different vibe from P3. It is more cheerful and happy, because P4 is the most colorful game in the series, but that doesn't make it bad or less than the others. At all. Believe me, I loved the optimistic and colorful nature of the game and its music. The energetic and vibrant tone is set from the opening theme, Pursuing My True Self, or the Persona 4 Golden one, which has an upbeat rhythm and catchy melodies. Many tracks follow this pattern throughout the game, featuring pop-oriented vocals and instrumental arrangements that create a lively and youthful atmosphere. And as a socially awkward introverted child who isn't particularly living his youth, this game music always puts a smile on my face. And again, I'm not a fan of turn-based combat, but seriously, who actually cares at this point when you have these bangers for battle themes? But aside from all that, there are a lot of emotionally rich tracks that showcase the game's themes of friendship, self-discovery and acceptance. Tracks like Nevermore or Heaven managed to create really powerful lasting impact in me. And at last, I'm gonna talk about Persona 5 music, the first Persona game that I have ever played, and I couldn't be happier that I started with this one. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Persona 5 OST is chill. It has a very chilling and smooth vibe that I adore. The game's music prominently features elements of swing and jazz, which perfectly complement Persona 5's stylish and urban setting. Tracks like Wake Up, Get Up, Get Up There and Life Will Change capture the game's rebellious spirit and serve as anthems for the Phantom Thieves. On top of that, the battle themes and P5 really make the fights more exciting and enjoyable, even if they are sometimes too easy. Also, every palace in the game has its own theme that fit the character that you are facing and the nature of the actual place, and it is always a treat when listening to the palace theme while exploring. And the royal version adds some amazing tracks, especially in the end of the game, like I Believe or Throw Away Your Mask, and the two of them has some mind-blowing and beautiful vocal performances. In conclusion, the Persona music is the best thing I have ever listened to in my entire life. I played the game in the first place because I liked its music. It is the only reason that I got the chance to get into this beautiful world and get to know these great characters. Well, in the end, I love music and video games, and my habit of listening to it in my free time or while studying or whatever will probably last for the rest of my life. I don't care how weird and nerdy people think I am, I just enjoy it. You can all just go listen to your stupid pop stars or whatever, I don't care. And thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and write a comment about what you think my next video should be, and thank you.